Welcome everyone to our afternoon networking event. I am Sandra Frericks from the organizing committee, and I had the pleasure of welcoming people to the conference this morning, and I get to do a little recap now before we go into our fun time this afternoon with Jesse Coffey. I was really pleased, surprised in a happy way, just impressed with how the themes of emotional health and wellness and environmental and outdoor education came together in the plenary session today. They really merged in a way that felt very positive and inspiring for me. And really enjoyed our comments from Gwen Hughes from the Mott Foundation, Carrie Gottschalk from Nebraska Extension, and Lindsay Rogers from Nebraska Game and Parks. That session was recorded, and you'll be able to come back to it after the conference if you want to see it or if you missed it this morning. Well, I have everybody's attention and I can see you pretty well because I've got my screen on in gallery view. I am curious how many people have downloaded the audiobook, The Other Wes Moore. Use the reactions tab to give me a thumbs up or a clap if you have downloaded the audiobook or started listening to it or reading it. That is a really great opportunity that we have provided along with your conference registration. You got a separate email that had a link and instructions for how to download that book. And I strongly encourage you to do that soon. Jan, does that link expire, the link that people received in their email?
No, actually it's a code. And so you'll go to libro.fm. The website, all the information is included in the email we sent you.
Okay.
But I do want to say, if you registered by 2 p.m. on September 23rd, then you received your code yesterday or Tuesday. And if you registered after that time, you'll receive your code in an email next Tuesday, October 6th.
So don't miss out on that opportunity. That's a great value for your registration fee. And also, we want to encourage you to think about if you had several people on your staff participating in the conference, you could even do a book club at your local program sites and have a chance to listen and talk about that book together. It's a really good shared learning experience. So I don't know about the rest of you, but it's been a very active day for me. Did people have fun on the catch session, getting up and moving? The easy peasy arts pleasy session had me up and moving, and I even got up in time to do yoga this morning. So there were a lot of opportunities built into the conference experience today to move and be physically active, which was really good. I needed that yoga this morning after sitting at my computer so much yesterday. It was nice to get up and move more today. If you missed the yoga session this morning, there are 2 recorded yoga sessions that MC did for us. One is on mindfulness for educators and one is on teaching children yoga. So check those out. And even if you caught the session today and enjoyed it, there's 2 more yoga sessions that you can enjoy that are recorded. Also, in our recorded sessions, I wanted to point out that there is a whole session on the Mizzen app that Gwen talked about this morning. That's a very new resource for after-school programs from the Mott Network. And there is a recorded session that explains how to download that app and get the most out of it and different ways to use it, not just for your staff, but as a resource for youth and families in your program if you want to. There's another really good recorded session I wanted to call out called When Work Becomes Overwhelming. And that's another one with our emotional health and wellness theme, and it's really focused on your own health and wellness. So I encourage you to look through those recorded sessions. And don't forget to do your evaluation for today so that you can have a chance to be part of the prize drawing for tomorrow. I'll put that link in the chat so you can go right to it now if you want to. Tell us how your day went, what you liked or didn't like about the conference experience, and what you're getting out of it so that we can really know what's working and what we want to really learn from this experience. Okay, I think that's it on my reminders. Busy day today. I really had fun and I hope you did too. Tomorrow is going to be a very different day. Tomorrow we're focusing on entrepreneurship, and there's some really unique things that we've never been able to do before that we're doing for this theme. So be sure that you check out the Youth Marketplace. That is a real market with items that you can buy from youth entrepreneurs from across our state. And also look at that youth entrepreneurship experience in the program. Make sure you know what's going on there, because that is a session you can bring right to the youth in your program live tomorrow. It can be part of your programming day to have this opportunity for all the participants to have an entrepreneurship experience where they're going to be learning about designing and marketing their own product. But there's some supplies that they're going to need to have on hand in order to do that. So make sure you have all of that in place before 3 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. And also, don't miss our last networking opportunity tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that, starting at 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. We're gonna have a expert teaching us how to make our own cocktails at home. Whether you're making alcoholic or non-alcoholic drinks, there's a lot of great and healthy ways you can treat yourself to something special from that mixology session. And today, we're also thinking about how to treat ourselves and be healthy. Jessie has prepared a list of some healthy seasonal snacks for us and also some fun activities for us to do to connect with each other and to learn together. So Jessie, I'm going to turn it over to you. I just realized I didn't really give them an introduction. So why don't you explain what your role is at Nebraska Department of Education and why you are our expert for this topic?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Jessie Coffey. I am the Whole Child Coordinator at the Nebraska Department of Education, and I'm actually officed in a new office at the Department of Ed called Coordinated Student Support Services. So everyone in our office is really focused in some way, shape, or form around supporting students' well-being, mental health or physical health, or the combination thereof. And so I'm a dietitian. I actually worked at Lincoln Public Schools for 13 years and did a lot of work in the after-school setting there, and really enjoyed that work. And I miss it, especially around the holidays and all the fun Halloween and the Thanksgiving and Christmas snacks. That I was looking for pictures for this presentation. I'm like, well, that was a lot of fun doing all that all the time. So I've worked primarily, I did cooking club and nutrition clubs in the after-school setting, but also some fitness clubs. How many of you participated in the catch session, or anybody that participated in the catch session? Did Lindsay mention the free catch training for staff on October 20th? Did she mention that?
I mentioned it, that my staff need to go to. I did ask her if in the chat.
Someone mentioned it in the comments.
If they were, I asked if they were leading the training in the comments, and she just responded back to me, yes, but she didn't really like promote it to everybody else because I.
Okay, well, I am putting the link to the sign up in the chat if I can.
And also, we're very soon this afternoon putting out our monthly newsletter to our 21st Century Directors. We have a link in that newsletter for people to register as well.
Yes, because if you got to see her, then that is all the advertisement that you need, you know. She just does a great job. And so, yep, I just wanted to link that in. That's part of some of the work that we do at the Department of Ed is provide resources, training, and professional development for school and out of school time staff. And so I wanted to make sure that you are aware of that opportunity, because we can take up to 25 people, but I would really like to make sure that we can get pretty close to that number. So. All right, I am going to share my screen. We're going to get started. So welcome. Thank you for everybody for joining. I appreciate you coming. I think, Sandra, did you send everyone did they get the full recipe book and the recipes that we are highlighting today? You're muted.
No, just the ingredients.
Just the ingredients? Okay, well,
They are available as a download. I'll put them in the chat also here so that you can get them both places.
Right. So I have these 4 recipes that we had today, but then, well, these 3 that we're doing today, I'm going to highlight an older student one as well. But then I have basically a 12-month cookbook with all of these sort of fun and healthy recipes that we're going to cover. So let me do that. All right. So like I said, I'm a registered dietitian, and I have really enjoyed working in the out of school time setting and working with students, and then we had, most of the time parents had to pick up from cooking club. And so I got to hear parents say, how did you get them to try that? And I'm like, it's the positive peer pressure of a cooking club type setting that really benefits the kids. And I know my middle son is super picky, and when he participated in at his school, he tried things that I was not able to get him to try at home, but like some of his cool friends were eating it. So it's really a great experience. And even during COVID, I think we can make it work. So I just wanted to see who's all on the call, all on the Zoom. So in the chat, you don't have to do all of these, but you can maybe answer 2 of those. What's your favorite fruit? What's your favorite fall recipe? Are you a pumpkin spice person? Everybody was raging about it, but it was like, was it like 92 last Saturday? I'm like, I can't do pumpkin spice right now. It's just not, it's not time. But now I'm ready. I'm ready for pumpkin spice. And then just to make sure that I can talk about anything that you wanted to hear about today, let me know is there anything more you want to learn more about and doing snacks or cooking in the after school setting? You can write that down. Ooh, Colorado peaches, yum. And then someone says they're totally a pumpkin spice girl. They've been waiting for it all year round. Yes. Oh, and then thank you, Sandra. She put the recipes in the chat as well. No cooking without kitchen for first. So you don't have a kitchen, as you're saying?
Right, not at our 1st and 2nd grade site. We don't. We do at the middle school. Obviously, we do a lot of labs, foods labs here at the middle school with 5th or 8th grade, and it's very popular. 3rd and 4th, we have a little bit of access to the kitchen, but with the 1st and 2nd grade, we don't. I know our UNL Porridge assistant has done some cooking with us, but if you have any other ideas for those little people.
Yes, I primarily worked with elementary, and we were able to use the oven in the elementary school, but sometimes we weren't. So I will definitely talk about that for sure. Thank you. And then hopefully the recipes that you can download in the chat that Sandra just put up in there. Most of these are pretty easy to do with younger kids, and a lot of them even they say preschool on them. So, and for everybody who likes pumpkin spice, I just actually saw this on Facebook this week, and I'm like, can that be real? So they have pumpkin spice ranch if you're just listening and not watching the slides. I'm like, ew, that's gross. But if you really like pumpkin spice, apparently this is real and it is out there. You can explore it. So good luck with that. So the reason that cooking with kids has been such a great program, and the reason that it's great in overall, it just teaches basic math skills. I would always remind kids that they were learning math, and they were like, how? And I'm like, well, because we're like doubling the recipe. A lot of times we doubled the recipe. And so we were doing math by figuring out if we need a half a cup in the recipe and we're doubling it, what does that mean? And they were always like, oh, we don't want to do math. And I'm like, but you are. So it encourages creativity. A lot of times now with kids, you know, a lot of the activities that they participate in, they're pretty prescriptive. The video games, they just do what's outlined in the video games. The sports activities, really, I mean, there's not a lot of creativity in some of the stuff that they do. So this really gives them that freedom to add things. And we did a lot of recipes where, I mean, of course, there's a guide about what goes in it, but they could pick, like, we made granola and oftentimes like yogurt parfaits, and they could pick the ingredients they wanted to top the recipes with. It creates a bonding experience. I've had a lot of moms, this was before I had teenagers, that said, if you need them to talk to you, go into the kitchen and say, like, let's make cookies. And then they'll start. Most of my boys are pretty good about just telling me stuff, but I've heard a lot of people tell me that if you get around some food and some cooking, then your kids will start talking. For the little younger kids, it allows them to explore their senses. It also, we went through, usually at the beginning of Cooking Club, just rules, but part of that was being respectful and being willing to try new food, and that they could smell it, that at least if they weren't going to try it, that I wanted them to smell it. And then I usually recommended that they would just take a spoon and dip a little bit into the new food and then try it. And sometimes I had one boy whose mom, because I think he didn't like anything, I think he tried one recipe out of the 6 cooking clubs that we was in. But you know what? He didn't make a big deal out of it, and he wasn't disrespectful or rude. And so I appreciated that. It also, the kids were always really proud to take, a lot of the kids wanted to take home whatever they made, especially when they make some of these recipes that look really cute, like the bananas. Sometimes the kids want to save those for siblings or their parents, and they want to share them with them. So that was always, you know, or I did breakfast club at a couple schools that started at 9 a.m. And so then they would always want to take stuff to their teachers. And I thought, is their teacher really want to eat that? But this teacher in particular, actually, she would eat it, and she did appreciate it. And then it just increases their familiarity with new food. A lot of people, I was surprised at how many kids had never had yogurt before. That wasn't something that they had at their house, or they hadn't tried vanilla yogurt, which I used a tremendous amount, a lot of the recipes. And the curriculum that I used to use, which I guess isn't really available anymore, is Kansas State had a Kids of Cooking website. I think some of the recipes are up there, but
It's
a lot of, you know what? Maybe
I love that site.
I know. Maybe when I was searching to find it, because I was going to include it here, like it was just a very minimal amount of recipes. So,
That's so good.
I will try to re-find it, and maybe they just like refreshed it and it ended up being somewhere else. But I'll try to get that to Jan and Kim too at some point for a follow-up, because they had videos. So if you didn't have a lot of adult helpers, you could watch the video first, and everyone got familiar with what you're supposed to do, and then you could set out on your task. And I have so many little things open. I have to move them, sorry. And then part of Cooking Club is just, we did this like once a month. We would just get a really weird new fruit or vegetable that they had never seen before. So I remember one year in Lincoln, Hy-Vee had all these weird fruits around Halloween time, like persimmons and prickly pears. And so we brought them in, and they just tried a very small taste test of them. I didn't necessarily try to put it in a recipe, but I left one whole, and then we also tried to cut up piece of it. And I remember one time we did pomegranates. And so then the student went home and they wanted to get them. And so the mom emailed me, where did you get those at? They loved them. Also, we know that kids and a lot of adults actually have neophobia, which is a fear of new foods. And so, again, being exposed to stuff many times, and also in a setting where, like, you're not going to get in trouble if you don't try it, and their peers are trying it. It was really a wonderful way to get kids engaged and try new foods. And we really had a lot of kids. Even I would ask at the end of each session, how many people tried something new again? And I'd have them raise their hands. And I mean, every week we would have about 18 to 20 kids in cooking club. Every week kids tried something new. So this is just a little funny. I thought it's very Halloween-y, but also kind of, I think, how kids feel about eating vegetables. Also, cooking is a real life skill. You know, I have a son that's a senior, and luckily he knows how to cook. And I always jokingly say, like, when you get married someday, you might know how to cook better than your wife, because not everybody knows how to cook. And I use a lot of college students to help lead the after school programs. And a lot of them were not super familiar with things like a difference between a teaspoon and a tablespoon. I made the recipes that we did a million times. And so when the recipe looked like super dark, I could tell it had way too much cinnamon in it. I said, well, what did you use for the cinnamon? And she showed me the tablespoon, and the recipe called for a teaspoon. And I was like, okay. So, I mean, for the college students that were helping me, they learned stuff too. And also you're learning some social emotional management skills here too. You're learning self-management in that turn taking, and also when you don't like something that can be upsetting, and responsible decision making, like that when we gave them knives, that you're not going to have like a sword fight with those, and relationship skills, because a lot of times I would let certain kids sit at certain tables because they had some conflicts, so we broke them up and they had to be with their group, and so they had to learn to make new friends. And then just that social awareness about not taking the last of stuff. And we also tried to do some cultural recipes, and so learning about different cultures. And we actually had one mom come in, I'm not going to remember the name of it was like an African country. And she came, and we made this sort of coleslaw recipe, and the kids tried it, and it was a really cool experience to have her come and share her traditional foods. So this is, one of you mentioned that you didn't really have access to a kitchen. So in most of my time, so like a lot of the recipes are very low maintenance, because I just set up most of the time in a cafeteria. So this is actually, this is a Halloween recipe. You can't tell really well, but this is a cat made out of vegetables. And what we actually, so the kids cut up all the things, and then the head is a black bean dip that we made. And so they worked as a table group. So this wouldn't necessarily work maybe in COVID times, like if we're thinking about risk mitigation, but it was great in the previous setting. And hopefully like by next fall, you'll be able to do something like this. But we had a lot of kids trying black bean dip that probably had never tried black bean dip before. So we usually just broke up at tables. We had there was 5 seats at a table, and so I had the students be in groups of 5, and then the recipe would stay at a table. So usually each group would get to try everything, but then sometimes like this one, we only made it one time. And then other times there would be a table group where each group would make their own. So for example, like the zucchini pizzas that we're making today, that's an example of one that every group would have made. Each group would have came, cut up a zucchini, made their own things, and then made it themselves. So I've done cooking club or snack club by myself, and it's kind of stressful. So I would encourage you that if you have volunteers within your community, or if you're a small district and you're one building, see if you can't work with your family consumer science students to participate in supporting your work. It's a great partnership. In this picture, I have a nursing student, and then 2 dietetic students, and then 1 student who was just helping out for her sorority like credits. But I've used high school students, I've used community college students, and then University of Nebraska students, and they like working with the kids, and it gives them some sort of experience I think too, as a dietitian, we learn like, here's what you tell people, and then this is working with kids kind of knocks you into the reality of about how when you counsel people, this is the real world of, if you have a student with diabetes and and you're telling them to eat this or that, and this is real life, and they're exposed to all these foods that you don't have control over. I always did try to include a little bit of nutrition education. So in the PowerPoint today, I'm again just kind of linking, if we had, and these are the extension, the fruit and vegetable, I'm not even sure like their official name, but they're basically like fact sheets. And so I usually have the volunteers go over like what makes kiwi healthy. And sometimes like we had students that didn't realize they could eat the skin. There's that fun facts on there. And then we also had some peer leaders. We did this for Fuel to Play 60 when that was sort of a big thing. We had them dress up and do a presentation about fruits and vegetables. This was for a 5th grade student council project. So we did some peer education, which of course was fun. And we had students take turns each week. We had 3 different ones lead the education for the younger students. And again, like I said, some of my favorite activities were doing the holiday and seasonal fun. And so the recipes that are included in the chat, these are all pretty much holiday and seasonal. I usually try to do an activity and some food. So like in the picture with the girls with the chef hats on, we did chef hats, but they decorated them with Christmas stickers and colored them, and then they made Grinch hats on a stick. And that picture too kind of shows how we did the setup of the tables. I did a lot of things that we could throw away, so it made it easy for cleanup because sometimes there was limited access to a sink. And so I use parchment paper is your best friend, and then plastic knives, like just regular old plastic knives. A lot of the stuff that the recipes we picked, the kids could cut most of it, strawberries, bananas, things like that. And then if you, I did go away from just regular knives because we did have a sword fight incident one time, and I thought, I don't want that to be the reason I can't do this anymore. So then I just purchased a apple slicer, and if you can get a metal one, this will last longer. The plastic ones break usually after a quarter of cooking club, it was broken. But the metal ones.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Jesse, I have a really good tip for the parchment paper thing, because we've used this for years for science and cooking activities, is the big boxes of parchment paper that the school cooks buy.
The sheets, yes.
The big sheets. And if you can get them to order that for you and pay them for them, that's best to find the rolls. Those big sheets, you have 1 per child.
Yes. Yep. And that's what I used when I was in Lincoln Public Schools. And we usually had them fold them over too to make them a little thicker.
Right. But I mean, a lot of people might not know about that. You know, those are really slick, and what are they? 14 by 24.
Yeah, and they're pretty cheap. And then Lorna, was there anything else? Good point. Was there anything else that you had the kitchen purchase for you?
That's pretty much. We would have every couple of year or two, however often we use them, those big boxes of parchment paper would be pretty fabulous. And then, we try to use our own tools and equipment. And our extension partners always brought their own tubs of stuff in, but yeah, pretty much they bought that. And they do use our garden produce. They do, when we harvest our garden produce, they will cut that and use that for the school, in the school lunch stuff.
Oh, great.
And then we do really weird, like my weird vegetable this year was kohlrabi, that something new that you get the students to try and taste. We always try to plant some weird stuff that none of us really like, or maybe the kids have obviously Swiss chard, they don't know what that is, they don't know what kohlrabi is. So we always try to plant some different kind of vegetables that they get to see and try. And my interesting thing this year was like dill, like I hadn't smelled just the dill weed, dill. And like, well, what do you think we use that for? And they're like, well, dill pickles. I'm like, yeah, and that whole conversation is always interesting.
Yeah, I know. It's really just like some of those small things that they haven't tried before or didn't think about it. So here are some of the helpful supplies. Like I mentioned, I had access to the kitchen for really all of the years that I did after school programming, but I didn't always use the kitchen, because it was sometimes further away from the cafeteria where we were holding club. And if I didn't have enough volunteers, then I didn't always feel comfortable for the kids to go into the kitchen with all that equipment that, they might get hurt. So the things that are super helpful if you have plastic knives. Well, really all plastic silverware, but plastic knives are usually essential for the like preparation. And then the wax paper or the parchment paper, if you can get that from your kitchen, those are just great because they're already cut. And then you have the kids fold them in half and it's their cutting board. A can opener, so just like a regular can opener, most kids don't know how to use these. Even the older kids, they don't know how to use these, and so that's that's a good skill for them to learn. Baking pans, and then I use an electric skillet. So this is just like a flat one, but also the ones with the sides. I actually got one for my wedding that I used for the entire 13 years at Lincoln Public Schools and put it through the dishwasher, and it lasted the entire time. But we made anything that you would like cook on a stovetop. I had just the skillet or the electric one with that has the sides that you could cook. We would make sloppy joes in there, so we'd ground the meat, and then we'd add all the sauce, so like anything you would do on a regular skillet. And then I also had in the past tried a hot plate, but that got super hot, and then it just was like not so sturdy for the kids, and depending on the ages. I really like the electric skillet or this griddle. These were great. And then I did a lot of breakfast foods because that's very inexpensive for families to purchase, and then also pretty easy for kids to learn how to make. So we did a lot of like at least 2 breakfast labs per time. And then the last session, I usually let the kids pick their favorite things, either from, a lot of kids re-enrolled every year or multiple, like I didn't let them enroll twice in the same year, but did it for multiple years. And so they would be like, oh, I just loved when we made our own pretzels. And I'm like, well, that's such a boring recipe, because it was just water and flour and salt, and they made their own pretzels, and they put it usually in the shape of the first letter of their name, but they just love that. Spatulas, some mixing spoons, and some tongs. And then if you can, a microwave, because then that sometimes can reduce the need for an oven. Also, if you need to have like melted or softened butter or something like that in some of the recipes, if you can have a small microwave. And then I usually just put everything in a tub, and then at one of our schools, we just kept it in the after school program. They had a big, like a giant Rubbermaid tub, and so we just kept it in their closet, and it worked out really well. So that's sort of the supplies and the setup that would be helpful. I think now in COVID, I think probably gloves for all of the adult leaders. And the thing that, as I thought through this, is what I wouldn't have done before. I usually just had all the ingredients on the table. But now I think it's likely that I would probably cup everything up. So like these are the chocolate chips that we'll use for the banana. I would probably give everybody just a small bit of zucchini. Like I'd have everything, at their cutting paper or whatever. Where normally I like for them to have all the ingredients on either at the center or even at a larger table, and then they looked at the recipe and they saw, oh, I need a jar of pizza sauce, and they had to figure out which of those things was pizza sauce and go get it for their group. And then the group looked over what one of the or two of the students had located, and then made sure that everything was correct so they could keep working. And then the other thing that's was very hard, or a challenge for even our older, smarter students that are better at reading, was reading a recipe is weird. The ingredients are at the top and then the instructions are at the bottom. That wasn't something they were familiar with. And so it wasn't just this, you didn't just start at the top and work your way down and depend on how the recipe was set up. So it was definitely something that they had to learn. That was definitely a skill. So the first recipe that we're gonna do is zucchini pizza. I picked this one just because a lot of you may have still a lot of zucchini you want to get rid of. Zucchini is it grows really well in Nebraska in my backyard, and my mom's like, you want zucchini? I'm like, no, I don't want any zucchini or any cucumbers or tomatoes. I have too many. I feel bad. They're all just back there rotting. So zucchini can grow 1 inch in a day. It's high in vitamin C and low in calories, and like many vegetables, it's actually a fruit because it comes from a flower. And these are the fun facts that I usually would have the adult, my volunteers. So if I didn't have a volunteer at a table, but I had a fairly savvy fifth grader, they would go over some of the stuff with the rest of the group. And that worked pretty well for recipes that were easy like this. If I needed to use like a peer leader, they would kind of lead this first nutrition education piece. And then, so here are our ingredients. You need, if you're making the full recipe now, if you're just doing this with me, you probably just got one zucchini maybe. For the spaghetti sauce, I like this one with the lid that has the small hole, because if you've done this before with kids, you know that they're not good at portioning things out or being like, they use too much of a lot of stuff. So this way you're able to, the kids are able to do this. Now, if I was doing this at your school right now in COVID, I would probably give the kids the zucchini and a cup with the mozzarella and a pepperoni already ready. And then I would have probably the adult go around and squirt the tomato sauce or the pasta sauce on this zucchini, just because of, like to decrease risk. And I'd probably have all of your adults wearing gloves. The students, if they're making their own, then they could just, touch their own food. That's fine. So then you're putting the pizza sauce on top of the zucchini, and then you're topping the zucchini with the mozzarella cheese. And this is a good recipe to do with younger kids because this is something that they can do by themselves. And then you're just putting the pepperoni on each of the zucchini things. Zucchini bites, and I'm just going to put it in the oven really quick. And so if you didn't have an oven, you could cook it on this. You could use this skillet, that would work, or you could actually use a microwave if that's all you have. So that's different ways to be creative.
Oven, Jessie, the toaster oven works good too in these situations.
Yes. And I did initially use toaster ovens, but I think it just took so long. I think. Depending on what we were making, that I started using, we started using the kitchen ovens, which are amazing. So if you would get like clearance to have like the adult go in there, because they have those convection ovens in most of the school kitchens. So like just to have the adult go in there and put, because I usually only picked one oven recipe because of that issue, but they're so fast, and they're also, you get such a nice product when you can use a real oven, but like Lorna said, the toaster ovens are great. So here's the recipe or the directions, and we always had the students read all these over, and I usually offered whoever felt comfortable reading these would read through their instructions. So you can modify the directions, of course, based off of what you have in your environment. So had you not had an oven, you could do it on a griddle, you could do it in the microwave. And then this recipe says prepare enough zucchini so that each student has 2 pizzas. Maybe you wanted them to have, like, maybe you're only doing 3 recipes and you want them to actually have more. So then those are things that you just have to plan for when you're buying the ingredients, that you have enough for everybody.
Yes, I have a question about baking these. In the past, when we've done stuff with those large parchment papers and we use the big trays, then we would section them off because we'd make pizzas, little pizzas and stuff, and we would section them off because you can dry on them and you can write the child's name on that parchment paper. Do you feel that is safe to do now or not? If you had that big parchment paper divided into 6s or something, do you feel like that would be safe enough because you're baking it? That would be safe to have everybody's pizza on 6 people's pizza on that one pan or not?
Yeah, I think if you're baking it, that's fine. Like, I know I've done some things very similar, but then we've just put it in the refrigerator to set up. And I don't know, like that, I don't know the refrigeration, I don't know that would kill germs, but like the baking it, I think would. And then I would just have an adult, then once it's done, I would have an adult use like a spatula and then give it out to the students just to reduce that contamination on the back end. But yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Been kind of wondering about that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a little bit more. There's just a little bit more to think about. So if you participate in the CATS training, here's one of the activities that you can do, an engagement activity, if you would be doing something virtually. But I also think you could do this very obviously easily in person. But so now that we've done one recipe, how are you feeling right now? You can give me a thumbs up. You can do a happy face. You can do a, you know, or a, so I'm looking at all of your faces now. Good. Kim, are you having a happy face day? Kim's like, yes, we're making it through all this. So this is, I usually check in with the kids after we finish a recipe, and then we would sometimes change stations, or sometimes kids would have to wait. And so if that was the case, like there was one recipe that took longer, then I would have sometimes activity sheets, or what they didn't like the activity sheets. What they all really liked is we had fruit and vegetable bingo. So we might have had that set up as an interim station in the cafeteria where they did bingo together, and some of them were physical activity bingos were built in there too. So those were fun. Now this recipe is super, if you did a family night, I think this would be a great recipe because it's so easy. And again, here's our fun facts about bananas. It's, whoops, I'll go back. It's the most popular fruit in the US. There are 1,000 different types of bananas, and they grow in bunches. Obviously, this is not something that we can grow in Nebraska, and so a lot of times we would talk about where bananas come from, and how long it might take a banana to travel to where we're living. And then as far as their nutrition information, bananas are high in potassium and high in starch. And so we talk about too, especially with some of the older kids, when they would ask like what would be a healthy snack when I either for breakfast or like if before they go to have sporting events, you know, if there were certain things that we were using, I'm always like, a banana is a great fast fruit. It's a great thing to take with you. It's not necessarily the most sturdy fruit though. So if you're picky about it getting brown, then that might be the one that you use. So again, super simple ingredients: 1 banana per 2 children, 1 bag of milk chocolate chips, like the regular size, and then 1 bag of the mini chocolate chips. And it's hard for me to show you, but so if you, just to clarify the chip size, here, let me see if I can. So we have the big ones are here, and then of course the little ones. And I don't know how you guys order food for Cooking Club necessarily. I know I had started ordering stuff from Hy-Vee because at that time, this was before there was actually like grocery delivery. Well, actually they did deliver it. They delivered it to the schools, and it started saving me so much time. So I'd put an order in, and then if I was doing it twice that week, I would have it delivered to Campbell Elementary and then Friedstrom Elementary. And I had already ordered it one time, so that was really nice, but I was always ordering over that minimum threshold of stuff. So I was getting free delivery. So I'm not sure if you guys use Amazon or any other way, or Walmart.com to order food, but any way that you can reduce your time in the grocery store. I mean, sometimes you have to get the fresh things, but for the chocolate chips and some of the pantry items, you might consider ordering those ahead of time. So then I would give each child a half a banana, and then they peel the banana. And this is another thing that they're not familiar with, is how to peel a banana. So they're not sure how to get into the fruit, which is a problem. So think about if you gave a kid a banana, they don't know. So I usually taught them to cut the top with a knife, just a little bit like that, and then they could easily peel it so that they could get it together. And then they're just gonna put a chocolate chip in there for the mouth, like so, and then one each eye. And this is it's pretty cute and pretty easy, and also it's not very intimidating. It's a snack that most kids will eat. So we usually did this as part of like I would use Halloween plates. So we would use it as part of a Halloween plate. So the kids will, a lot of times they would save this, and then they would put all of their creations on their plate, and then they would sit down at the end and eat it all together. They like to kind of see what they created. That was something. Some kids like to wait all to the end. Some kids didn't. They like to eat it as they went. So, And I know one time we did during the day, we did like a holiday party. We had kids, they made reindeer heads with applesauce cups. So they had, the applesauce cup was the head, and then we used some googly eyes for the eyes, and then we used, what's it called? Not sparklers. For the ears, that material that you can bend. What am I trying to say?
Fuzzy stick?
Pipe cleaners.
Like
Pipe cleaners, thank you.
Yeah,
Pipe cleaners for
pipe
the ears.
cleaners.
Yeah,
Fuzzy
and the
sticks.
kids, and I think they were littler, they were the younger, well, actually the whole school did it. The kindergartners had them made up ahead, the PTA did that. But none of that, but that was supposed to be their snack for the party. And hardly any of the kids ate it. They all wanted to take it home and show their families that they're a cool snack. So, I mean, they're pretty proud of it when they make fun stuff. So let's just, now we've done recipe 2, let's just take a movement moment. I just wanted to let you know about this in case you didn't already know. So if you didn't know, there's a website called Go Noodle. Oh, called Go Noodle, and they have free physical activity breaks. I used to try to get the kids always outside. We had a park really close to the outside of the school. It was actually a city park, not the recess space, because that was further away. So we actually used the city park that was right in the backyard of the school. And we went out there, and most of the kids really liked it. Some of the kids were like, don't make us do exercise, but they needed it after school. So we usually did that first. Then we came in and did hand washing, which of course is super important now. And then we got to business with the making our recipes. But this is a food related one, so I just wanted to play this for you. This is peanut butter in a cup. If you want to play along.
Sing and dance along. Peanut butter in a cup, we sing the song to pump us up. Bang, bang, choo-choo train, come on, Bridget, do your thing. I can't. Why not? I just can't. Why not? My back is aching, the sun's too bright, my hips are popping from left to right, from the left to the right, from the left to the right, to the left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Peanut butter in a cup, we sing the song to pump us up. Bang, bang, choo-choo train, come on, Lindsay, do your thing. I can't. Why not? I just can't. Why not? My back's aching, the sun's too bright, my hips are popping from left to right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Peanut butter in a cup, we sing the song to pump us up. Bang, bang, choo-choo train, come on, try to do your thing.
I can't.
Why not?
I just can't.
Why not?
My back is aching, this light's too bright, my hips are popping from left to right.
To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Peanut butter in a cup, we sing the song to pump us up. Bang, bang, choo-choo train, come on, Joan, do your thing.
I can't.
Why not?
I just can't.
Why not?
Back's aching, this lipstick's too bright, my hips keep popping from left to right.
To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Peanut butter in a cup, we sing the song to pump us up. Bang, bang, choo-choo train, come on, Brian, do your thing. Why not?
So basically they have a whole bunch of food ones. They have one called Purple Stew that I like a lot. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer. Some kids really like these. My 5th grader hates them. He won't do any of them and he won't dance along. But my other kids really liked them way into 6th and 7th grade. So it just depends on the kids, I guess. And I'm just gonna go back to the recipe. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, can you see that again? Back to the recipes. All right. So if you weren't familiar with Go Noodle, you just have to create an account. But everybody has access to those free resources. It's really nice when you have bad weather and you can't get them outside, or the space that you usually use for physical activity is being used for, say, sports or something like that. So I like that, and it just, even if you just do it for a little bit, it's better than nothing. And so then our last recipe is pumpkin pie in a cup. So this one is all kind of self-contained. I mean, there's a lot of components that are self-contained in this, so very individualized. So you need your vanilla pudding cup. your pumpkin puree. And then again, that's when the kids get to use their can opener to open this up, that they probably don't know how to do that. And then brown sugar, which I would again I would give them their pumpkin in one of these cups, their brown sugar in one of these cups, and then their graham crackers. And I would just probably put that in a Ziploc bag and then give everybody their items. I just need to grab the graham crackers. Chase, can you get me a Ziploc bag? Oh, I already got one. Okay. So this is some of the kids' favorite things to do, is to put a graham cracker in their bag. Chase, I have a helper. Do you want to help me? All right. Do you want to just hit this with your hand like that? Break it up. So it gets a little loud. It gets a little loud when the kids are all doing their work, but fun. Got it all. Thank you. All right. You want to pour it in the cup?
God, that's this.
So Chase, do you want to wave at everybody? Here, and then you want to pour that in there? I'll get it down a little bit. Let's see what we're doing here. And then you're going to take your vanilla pudding.
Hey, sir.
And Chase, do you want to scoop that in there? Do you want to do that? Here, hold it. Scoop it in. This is an added bonus. I didn't know I was going to be able to have a helper. He takes the bus, and they're usually a lot later than this. Excellent. Go ahead.
Jessie, do you think it'd work to use vanilla yogurt, or does it need to be pudding?
No, I think you probably use vanilla yogurt too. It would just be like a little tangier. Yep.
I may try that. I've got yogurt at home. I could try it today.
Yeah. And this recipe is for everybody that really enjoys that pumpkin spice. So then I just had to mix it up in a cup, and then that just goes on top. Approximately 2 tablespoons. So you could either mix all of it up ahead of time, like the recipe says, you use the entire cup of this, and then the 1/2 cup of brown sugar. So you can mix it all up ahead of time, or you could give them individual portions, and then there you go. It looks pretty on the side. It's all mixed up. So again, that's just another. And then the recipe does actually call for an apple, which these are hard. Unless you're like taller than the table that you're working on, it is harder for the students to do it. And then I too would probably I would have the adult probably wear the gloves, and I would probably have them portion out like 4 in a cup and give that, and then give these to the students. So then this would be the snack. And so I just wanted to, oops, I did not use the slides. I did not go through those but I just wanted to hear from you guys. How many recipes would you typically do at a time? Are you just doing one recipe? How are you working that into either your regular program? Are you doing it as a club, for an hour? How is that working for y'all?
What we've done is a cooking club, a lot of cooking clubs. In middle school, obviously, it's cooking clubs. So, it might be thematic. They'll go through, like, this week they do breakfast, next week they do a lunch, next week they do, a dinner item. Obviously, UNL Extension educators and assistants have done a lot, have done a lot of the cooking clubs, exactly what you're doing with us. But with the little kids, yeah, they just do some of these simple snacks, but usually it is a cooking club, or it would be the holiday thing. Like, we have holiday clubs. So one week they do the craft, the next week they do a food, the next week they learn something about, So does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah. But they're
Jackie,
kind of
how
like, sometimes they're only like 30 minutes and sometimes 45, but then with the middle school cooking club, sometimes, I mean, we require them to be there for that 2 45-minute periods, because otherwise you can't get anything done. You know?
Right. You
They
just
get
get
it cooked.
everything out.
And then they leave you with all the cleanup. So then we were, you know, they have to be there for the whole time if they're going to finish the item, because it takes that long to bake something or make a pizza. You know, it takes
Yeah.
time. So
I know. And it's kind of like the end of the world if like they have to leave before their item that's baking is done. They're like, oh, what happened? The parents are like, let's go. We got to go. And the kids are like, but my pizza's in the oven. Oh, speaking of, I should probably, oh, they're nice and brown.
I have first grade.
Once they're all done, I only had pizza sauce on some of them because I originally was just going to do, but the ones that have the pepperonis on them, they turned out very nice. That actually was probably about the right amount of time. I don't think I had the oven preheated all the way to 400, but because they look just like the zucchini is just done. Thank you. Yeah. So Jackie, we want to share, how do you run club?
I have first grade, so we do activities. For instance, we made freeze pops this year, and we prepared them one day, and then we normally have our cooking class once a week. But when we do certain items, you know, like the freeze pops, we discuss the whole item, and then the following day, they got to eat the finished product. But normally I will do stuff like worms in the dirt. We will use the chocolate pudding and the crushed Oreos and gummy worms. We'll make little non-cookable items like that.
Mm-hmm. So this one's a good non-cookable item. So again, if you don't have the equipment or the space, there's the banana that's sort of why I picked these, and they were fall recipes. You could do it without really all that other equipment. Like the banana, yep.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say I forgot all the cooking I've done with our cooking club, our gardening club. So when we do this produce from the garden, then I usually would pick, those are like 4 to 6 weeks, depending, then whatever we pick in the garden. So we pick the cucumbers and onions, then I would have creamy cucumbers prepared so they could taste them.
Mm-hmm.
We would pick, you know, harvest the zucchinis, and then I would have zucchini bread, maybe just prepared for them. The spaghetti squash, we'd talk about, you know, how you make spaghetti without pasta and use spaghetti squash instead. So typically I'd have that cooking in the crock pot. So I would sort of have that prepared for more of a, this is how you grew it in the garden, and this is what the end product is, because we didn't have time to obviously make all that. But at least they know that we picked that in the garden, we wash it, and then this is the end is it possible end product?
Yes.
So they would get to taste it. So that's the other way I've done the, you know, kind of the field to plate kind of thing.
Yeah, and have you had any farm to school like mini grants or anything where you've used that to purchase your supplies?
Haven't, no.
I'll keep if people are interested, I have my email at the end. The ND or Department of Ed will have some farm to school mini grants available, but I also have some funds for to support cooking or healthy snacks in the after school program. So I have my email at the end. You can contact me. And then I just wanted to highlight this recipe, which is also, I don't have the ingredients to make it, but because it has a little more involved. It's also a little bit harder, so maybe more of a middle school recipe. But basically, so this is let's see, I'll just show you the one. So this is the pear bites. This is what they look like, but you need a strawberry. This is for the whole recipe, 5 large pears, a package of sunflower seeds, mini marshmallows, and then mini chocolate chips to make these. And then you slice the pear up into a piece to look like those shapes. Let's see. And then they slice up the strawberries to be used for the tongues, and then they put in the sunflower seeds for the teeth, and then they use the marshmallows. They can put that on the eye on the head, and then they use the mini chocolate chips to put into the marshmallow. So again, I'm going to show you what those look like. They're pretty cute. They're a little bit more involved. The elementary kids had their dexterity wasn't super good, and so they had a hard time doing all of those parts. So this was one that I did it probably a couple different years, but I really felt like it was a better for our, we had one club where at one of our schools where it was mostly fifth graders and we did it and they didn't have problems, but it seemed like until about fifth grade, then it was a little harder. So most of the recipes are for anyone, but and then I will try to find that K-State Kids A Cookin' because that's what I always used. It was a great resource, and it had videos of recipes as well as.
I think Sandra shared it in the chat already, and I went
she
to
did.
it, and it looks good. It looks fine. It's a weird spelling. Kids A Cookin'.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and I used that for years. And I don't know when I looked it up this summer if it was just like crazy COVID world and it wasn't available, or if they were redoing it that week or whatever. But that's a great place for. They have recipes and they're in English and Spanish as well. So then if you're sending them home, and then when we had kids at the end of cooking club, we usually gave them the recipe packet. So this would be like these are all the recipes that you have in that. And then we usually gave them their own measuring cup set so that they felt like they had had tools that they could use at home. And these are just from the Dollar Tree. So I'd order like a case of these from the Dollar Tree. So, and we do have, if anybody's interested, we have some mini grants available for cooking in the out of school time program. So my email is right there. And oh my gosh, I didn't go way over. I'm so proud of myself. I have a problem doing that. So, but does anybody have any questions?
Jessie, this is Patricia Stewart. I just had a quick question. Do you have any curriculum on just teaching them basic cooking skills like measuring, using certain, cutting open a can?
Yes. So the Kids A Cooking, they have lessons on just like how to measure flour, how to use a blender, things like that. They have the basic stuff. And then they go into the recipes, and then they even have like another section where they do more things. But Kids A Cooking has that.
Middle school that didn't even know how to, cut certain, like we were cutting tomatoes. They were safe knives, for
right.
I think they're like the ones that are kind of like they're not sharp, but anyway.
Right.
They had never cut a tomato or an onion. We're making pico de gallo from our produce from our garden, which I'm going to be calling you about those farm to school. But anyway, yeah, so it was like middle school, and you have never you don't know how to cut an onion, and just the shop.
Oh, right. I know. I mean, and I always use plastic knives, and I would have kids like sawing on their finger, and they're like, I have a cut, and I'm like, but don't cut your thumb. So it's a challenge, but the Kids A Cooking is a great resource because it has those basic skills. And I used to start off club with the first day, how to measure liquids, how to measure flour. But then I got kind of bothered that we were like throwing all that flour away. So then we just had the volunteers. They just impressed upon the kids. Hopefully, I wasn't at every table, of course, how to measure with liquid the first couple times, to get down eye level with the measuring cup, and then how to use a knife to do the top of the flour and things like that. So, but it does have a lot, and thank you, Sandra, for sharing that link, because they have so many great basic skills and lessons.
That's okay. So that's in the one that you mentioned. That's in the Kids to Cook. Which one is it?
That one. So is that, Sandra? Is that the one that you said it was having? No, that's the recipe file.
It's called Kids A Cookin'. I'll resend it just so it's in the bottom part of the chat.
Oh, okay.
Give me just a second.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Because it's pretty extensive, and I'm sure it's bigger than when I've been gone from Lincoln Public Schools for 2.5 years, so I'm sure they've added recipes. And the kids really, they had favorite ones that they really liked to do, and then I had favorite ones too, but they weren't always the same. Like the ones I wanted them to make were not always the same. Yep. This is I'll just pop it. Yeah. So I think it might be it's under the tips and techniques, actually. How to do a
knife safety. There's a good one on knife safety.
Mm-hmm. How to measure flour, liquids, shortening, sugar, how to use a can opener. So they have the PDF, and then there's the video.
These are really, really good.
Yeah.
Hopefully Nebraska could come up with something like this too.
I know. I always say that. I'm like, well, how come?
Having a peeler in the
other
kitchen.
people do such great stuff. Like Iowa has that Pick a Better Snack and Act campaign. I'm like, that's so great. We need to do that. So yes, but this is super. Thank you, Sandra, for finding that. I don't know what I was doing wrong. You know what? It's a different format. Maybe I just wasn't looking in the right place. But yeah,
Maybe you
So
were
they have the
spelling
video-
correctly.
No, I knew it was weird like this. But yeah, and then they have the tip sheets too. So you can send these home to families. If not necessarily this one, but if it's like the measuring one or whatever, or if you wanted to do, or if you were doing a newsletter and you wanted to take pieces of out, then they're already all done. And then somewhere on their website, I'm not seeing it like really readily, but they do have everything in Spanish. Is that? I think it's actually, there's a whole Spanish website. So you just have to, oh, there we go. There's a bottom, Espanol. So yeah, this is great. Super helpful.
Thank you for this. Yeah, definitely. Just because I don't want to be going to Pinterest anymore.
I know. Some of their stuff isn't that easy to print off too, even though they're cute. So thanks for joining me and listening to my experience, and thanks for participating and sharing your experiences. I appreciate that. Oh, Jackie?
Miss Sandra, will you please put the cooking website back up real quick? You went too fast for me. My camera, me and this phone don't work.
It's in the chat.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep. Great stuff. All right, Sandra, is there anything else?
We do want to put up a slide real quick with the things that you might need for tomorrow. Tomorrow our cooking will be a little bit different. We're going to learn about mixing our own cocktails, our mocktails. So there's 3 different seasonal drinks that we'll be making, and you can look for the ingredients to make these. I really want to try the evening martini. I'm curious what that's going to be like, but there's lots of great ideas. You can join in and enjoy it without making your own drinks too, but it is Friday afternoon and it would be nice to have a fruity, relaxing drink.
Absolutely. That sounds wonderful.
Any other announcements, anyone? I think we are done for today. Great session. Go ahead, Jan.
Sandra, I was just going to say, there's so many great links in the chat box. There's 3 little dots down at the very bottom of the chat. If you click on that, you can save the chat to your computer.
That's such a nice feature that they added. Love it.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around this afternoon. That was fun.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go work on my SIP report.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.